Hello, friends. Welcome back to another Hot Shot solo episode. Today we are going to be talking about scripting. So I started chatting about this on my last solo episode, and I've been doing it very frequently, a lot more consistently, and it's been game changing. So I wanted to chat through why. First, I want to chat through what it is, how I do it, but also why I think it's really beneficial. And this has also been something too where I've already kind of talked about this year has been really insane. There's been a lot of moving parts. I'm not ready to open up on what all of that is consisted of. One day I will, but not today. But it's also helped me to really kind of take control of my thoughts. And for me, this is really important because one of the things that I do a lot of times is I actually future trip and I spiral. So what that means is I will take one thing that hasn't even happened, I will fixate on it, and I will start programming out the future and manifesting all the bad things that will happen. And then in the meantime, I'm also spiraling inside. So going down thought patterns, falling down a rabbit hole, whatever you want to call it, that's typically what happens to me when it comes to unanticipated things or things that I don't have control of or things that I'm worried about happening. So I started scripting, and my coach and therapist have honestly been telling me to script for a really long time. And it didn't quite click with me until one night I did it. And I was home alone. I had just done my skincare routine. I did that everything shower where you just it's the hair, it's the shaving, it's the scrubbing, it's the exfoliating. It was the fucking whole shower. And I was just feeling amazing. And I just crawled into bed and I was like, do I watch a movie right now? Do I scroll TikTok? Or do I just need to release? And I was like, I need to kind of release a lot of things that have been happening. So I was like, you know what? I want to test out what scripting's like. So I took a journal and I just started writing out the next day as if it had already happened. From the time I woke up to how I made my morning coffee to, what I ate for lunch that day, what I wore to the office, how I felt entering into conversations, how my meetings went, to me coming home, what kind of dinner I made, jumping into bed. And I was like, okay, this is kind of fun. Second time I did it, it was actually the day before a race. And I was really excited because I started noticing after that first initial night some benefits that I'll get into. But then the second day I wrote about going and racing. And one of the things about drag racing that I love so much is that it's incredibly therapeutic. Because when you're in the car, all you can think about is the car. And for someone, again, like me, where I am very well aware I have undiagnosed ADHD and I think about 27 things at all times, it is very good for my brain to just hyper focus in on one thing and only be focused on one thing. And it's also very therapeutic. So going back to scripting, I scripted out my whole race and it all fucking happened, which is honestly incredible. Drag racing is probably one of the most mentally challenging sports, I would say, probably outside of maybe golf. Because you're dealing with an engine, you're dealing with time, you're dealing with bracket racing, meaning that you're racing against your own time as well as another competitor. And then you're also dealing with your reaction times, which I can do a whole podcast on what drag racing is, grown up doing it. But anyway, it's very mentally challenging. So to have everything happen and to have everything that I scripted out formulate the next day as a physical manifest was holy shit, what just happened? I was kind of set back a little bit. And I remember laying my head on the pillow that night after I got done racing, and I'm like, this is interesting. This is a new tool and a very powerful one. And one that works really well for me. So I've been doing it regularly. So let's start at the beginning. So what is scripting? And I pulled this definition off of, I think, Wikipedia, because I wanted to read exactly what it was. And then I want to go into like more of the spiritual woo-woo side of like what it actually means. So scripting is a language or script language that is a programming language that is used to manipulate, customize, and automate the facilities of an existing system. So essentially, we are reprogramming our brain, right? We are rewriting our own script. We are not allowing our thoughts or our emotions to dictate it. We are simply following what we have already written, which, again, for someone like me, that's super helpful. I'm giving myself a guidebook of how my next day is going to go, point by point, like it's already happened. And again, that really helps me with my anxiety and with all these other things. So why do I script, right? Like, why do I even do this? And from me, these are personal things that I've noticed. It could be different for everyone. I'm going to get into how I actually script as well, but this is why I do it. It alleviates my anxiety and anxious thinking the night before anything. So I like to do this at night. I like to get in bed. I like to have my lovely face mask on that freaks Spencer the fuck out. And I like to sit and journal my script, and I actually pull up my calendar for the day before, and I utilize my calendar as my form of script. So if I have a 10 a.m. team meeting call, that goes in the script. If I have a nighttime dinner, that goes in the script, and I put in every bit of detail. So I write it all out. What this does for me is that it alleviates my anxiety of the what ifs, of the what's going to happen, or any of the anxious thinking. So if I'm a little bit nervous about, a client meeting, or I'm a little bit nervous about meeting with someone, or, what I'm going to say, how I'm going to say it, it reduces all of that unknown for me and puts it into a digestible format where I know what's going to happen. It also helps me to visualize results and, again, eliminate possibilities. So it's very good for result-based thinking. It's very good for what's going to happen. One of my best friends, anytime I was going through anxiety, she would always ask me, what's the best thing that could happen? What's the worst thing that could happen? And I would tell her, and then she goes, okay, so the probability of that is you're probably going to land somewhere in the middle. The outcome of whatever situation you're worried about is probably going to land right in the middle. And that's kind of the same thing with scripting, right? Is really looking at what are the results? What are the possibilities? What's going to really happen here? And then also kind of utilizing that in your manifest, which is the last point, to leverage what you want to happen. So the last point is it helps me to manifest the outcome by visualizing it, by writing it out as if it's already happened. And again, a lot of people script differently. I like to script the night before about the next day. So I like to visualize my script as if it's already happened. Here, like, it's like basically me being like me talking to my future self about what happened that day. And it gives me a lot of ease, but it also gives me a lot of excitement because I'm like, I feel like I have a little bit of control. I feel like I can manifest these things. And that for me is really helpful. That feels really supportive. So how do we script? Okay. So you can really do it however you want. And there's tons of resources on the internet for you guys to look up. But for me, I like to do my entire day, or I like to do a very, 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 very precise moment. So for example, like I want to go back to the racing because I think that racing has a lot to do with manifestation. And I think it has a lot to do with your mental strength and really understanding how you're going to operate at a high competitive level, which I'm not a high level competitor by any means. I want to win. And so I put myself into that thinking, into that frame of thinking. So for example, when I'm thinking about drag racing or I'm thinking about client work, I'll say, okay, I'm going to wake up. I'm going to go make my cup of coffee. I'm going to let my 2 dogs out to go, have their breakfast. It's going to feel, I could feel the crisp air. I can smell the golf course that I look out over. And, my coffee's perfect temperature, honey, almond milk. And I'm going to go sit on my patio and I'm just going to breathe and sit, which is what I do every single morning. Then I'm going to jump on, my racing app, practice my lights. I'm going to get ready. I'm going to make myself a really bomb breakfast. This is what I'm going to be wearing. I have a really cute outfit. I have my favorite, vintage t-shirt and trucker hat with my checkered Vans. And then I'm going to pack a cooler and get my car. Okay. So anyway, so I go through the whole day. When I'm doing this, it helps to be as detailed as possible. It helps to talk and really set the scene, the smells, the looks, the way the clothes feel on your skin, the way that you feel in that moment. Are you excited? Are you happy? Anything like that, it really, really helps to write that out, because again, you're also writing this visualization and this manifestation as you're scripting. So when I do this, I'm also writing it again as, like I've said multiple times, but already like it's happened. So I wore this, I felt this, this is how it looked. So the other part of this too is to make sure that it is incredibly realistic. Now, this is also something that's a key to basically being a successful manifester. Your conscious cannot manifest something that it doesn't believe will actually happen, conscious or subconscious. So if you're like, a unicorn jumped over the moon, like your subconscious is gonna be like, that's not a possibility. That's not realistic. I'm not able to do that. Or if you want to manifest more money into your life, but you don't feel like you're worthy of that more money, or you don't feel like you're worthy of that job opportunity, you're not going to be able to manifest it, because it's too out of your comfort zone. It's too much. It's too out of your subconscious of where your worth lies. But this helps. Scripting actually helps, because it will kind of write out the way that you're able to achieve these manifest. So making sure that everything that you write in your scripting is incredibly realistic, but also being optimistic about the opportunities that you think are going to happen. So again, if you have to have a conversation with your boss, instead of future tripping, being like, this is going to be so scary, it's going to be so terrible, what if she doesn't like me? Write out how it actually goes. I had a conversation with my boss. I was optimistic about it. I felt nervous, but I, was excited to have this opportunity to grow and to have this hard conversation. I'm incredibly proud of myself. So there's ways for you to take that narrative and to rewrite it for yourself and for your subconscious and consciousness. Again, really including tangible examples, what I'm wearing, how I feel. The last part of this is also including any affirmations and also gratitude. So, for example, I like to write out these affirmations around the way I feel, or like the state of fact. So one of my affirmations that I've been practicing for years is I am a successful entrepreneur. I am a successful entrepreneur. And I will write that into my script. This happened because I'm a successful entrepreneur. I had a great day because I am a successful entrepreneur. Similar goes back to racing. When I was writing about racing, I just really wanted to have a good day. And I remember writing out my script like, today was a good day. Today was a good day because this is what happened. And then at the end of the script, today, all of this happened because today was a good day. So there's ways to incorporate that affirmation into your scripting, which is really, really helpful and digestible, believable. If I'm just looking at my day and I'm like, today's going to be a great day. Why? What social proof am I providing my brain that today's going to be a good day? Like, I don't have anything to go off of. I'm not looking at my schedule. I'm not looking at who I'm communicating with. I'm not looking at who's in my energy, who's in my field. So writing these out with your affirmations and also keying them up to how your day is structured and scheduled is incredibly helpful. Also gratitude. So I'm so grateful this happened, or I had such a happy day today, or I did something challenging and I'm proud of myself. There's ways to incorporate your affirmations into your scripting. Again, I like to do mine the day before the day actually happens, but also, if you're scripting for the future, I'm so grateful, I am a mother. I'm so grateful that, I approached my boss and now I am feeling more financially free and I can support myself and my family. There's ways to include this gratitude that's also, again, part of this manifestation that you're looking to achieve. And it also helps you to tap into that energy. Gratitude is one of the best ways to manifest, because you're putting yourself into this position of being open and accepting abundance, and it's truly energetic. And I go back and forth actually with the gratitude energy all the time, because I'm so physical. I'm so kinesthetic. I need proof before I can feel and accept gratitude. And I know that sounds really contradicting, but basically I'm very skeptical until I'm not, until something actually happens and I'm like, whoa. So for me, leaning into gratitude energy, it actually helps me to absorb and release anything around the gratitude energy that I don't think is happening. So if I'm like really happy for my life and I feel really blessed, I'm just taking a moment to look at all my blessings. It's like I'm calling in more abundance because I'm looking at everything that I've already been blessed with rather than looking at the scarcity of like the things that I want to happen that aren't here yet. So just a hot tip, include that into your scripting. Outside of this, I really, I, I have so much to say on this topic, but it really has helped me so much. And it's such a simple tool and practice for others to utilize. It's so easy. It doesn't even take me 10 minutes a night. And I also like doing it at night because it also brings me a lot of joy. So when I go to bed, I feel at peace. I feel joyful. I feel excited for the next day. And it just kind of sets me up for a great night and a great morning. So, scripting, guys, go ahead and get your journals out and script a little for yourselves. Okay, guys, so just like every other Hot Shot episode, I'm going to read a review. Reviews seriously help us, guys. It helps the show to rank, it helps us to get better guests, and ultimately keeps me coming back to bring as much value as possible to all of you guys listening. So today I'm going to read an incredible review from Miss Alexa339. She says, the podcast is super insightful. This podcast has been my secret to up-leveling all different facets of my life. The guests are super insightful, as is Whitney, and I cannot recommend the show enough. Please check it out. Thank you so much, Alexa, for your incredible review. And you guys, like always, for all of our Hot Shot episodes, if this is your review, screenshot it, DM it to us. We will give you guys an Amazon gift card. And thanks again so much for going under the influence with me. I love you. And thanks for another great Hot Shot episode.